hear, what the people who participated have to say about their process, and um, just to be around creators in general.
Let's go. And I can see Frank has discovered how to do the quick emoji reactions. So he's having the time of his life on the space. I think he's been dying to get up on the space and do that. Nice flex, buddy. Can you DM me how you're doing that? Because I've completely forgotten. Bezi team, hello. I see you guys in the audience. I've requested for you to come up, but I don't know if it's working or not. Please do come up. Mackie, man of the hour, hello. How you doing? Welcome to your first ever Spaces. Honored.
Hello, everyone. I hope you guys can hear me well. Um, I'm super happy to be on the Spaces. First time here as a speaker and first time as a winner of a challenge. Yeah, I just came back from class, and this is a very special afternoon for me now, very unique. And yeah, I can't wait to share my journey in this challenge and also the previous artifact challenges and just in general, like how it is to be an artifact creator. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely honored to have you, Mackie. And as Franco said, you've been on this journey with us for a long time. So it's really, really nice to see you getting the recognition that you deserve. Bezi team, hello. Oh, I don't know who to go to first. Who's behind the Bezi account, actually?
I know. So that's Lacey here, who is also recovering from pneumonia. So I'm like, my voice still isn't back yet, but I wanted to join in. I'm so excited about this. And the submission, y'all, were just so incredible. Our whole team was so excited to review these. This has just been so much fun.
Lacey, so good to hear your voice. I'm so glad that you're feeling better. I can't imagine what you've just been through, but you survived it.
Survived it. We're doing it.
Let's go. Raf, hello, welcome, our educator. How you doing?
I'm doing great. And yeah, thanks a lot for inviting us over here, and really thanks to all the people who submitted some great banger work over there. Super impressed with all of them, and yeah. No, I'm just speechless. I'm literally speechless. Some of the work really surprised me, and it's an honor being here with amongst some really great talent.
Absolutely. I wanted to read out what Ravian sent me. So the submissions were all different from each other, different kinds of experiences, but there was quite a few gamey themed ones. And Ravian was another one of those creators who made a little mini game. He designed a scavenger hunt with his son, which we all thought was so endearing behind the scenes. Especially Fred was impressed with it. Since he's become a papa, he was like, yes, we're onboarding the next generation of creators. He was so excited. But yeah, he really wanted his kids involved, and it was really beneficial that he had some basic knowledge of Blender, which helped him in his process and made it much easier to learn the Bezi platform, because there are a lot of similarities, which is amazing, like the shortcuts that Raf was telling us. It's quite universal. He said he would have loved to improve on his video editing skills, and would have loved to add some music to his submission and many other ideas he had that he wanted to try. But he's on a mission to upgrade his gear first and then put those ideas into action. He also expressed his gratitude to the Bezi team on their guidance, and he was really glad that he could participate overall. So I think I really enjoyed this challenge, and it was so lovely to see that he was working with his children. Like, his son was kind of taking charge on this one. So we're onboarding the next generation, guys. It does feel good, I'm not gonna lie. Should we go to our winner? Should we go to Mackie and figure out, dude, how did you do it this time?
So there was a lot of steps in the process. and yeah, it was quite all over the place. But initially, I approached the idea to think about in what environment would Animus live and what would he actually do, since that was kind of the topic of the challenge. So what would he do in one day? And yeah, the game experience was of course also something I wanted to do, so that the people can play the character. And I was also thinking, what is the character? Like, what is the character of this small Animus? And how old is he? And what does he like? Um, so I took more this cute and more chunky Animus character, and I just thought, yeah, he would like some fruits, and he would kind of be funny and hungry and a bit sleepy maybe. So step by step, the idea came that in his day he should eat something, and first in the day he should wake up, and the player of course should wake up the Animus. And the end goal for the Animus character should be the egg, or to reach the egg. That's kind of like this day, like he should find or reach his egg, and that's kind of like the trophy. And yeah, that was kind of the idea behind the game. And then I used Blender a lot to animate the Animus, and use Substance Painter to design all the 3D models, like the islands and the trees, and yeah, of course, the fruits. And then in Bezi, I try to combine everything together and use all the nodes that I could create somehow, and tie the idea together.
Incredible. Maki, did you come across any challenges during your process, and how did you overcome them?
So yeah, there were quite some challenges. Initially, as I said, I had to kind of figure out how it should look like, and I thought, okay, I should make a mix out of nature and tech, and try to give it this cute style that would match the Animus. So one challenge for that was of course also the modeling and texturing, because I'm just not really yet that good at that, but I tried a lot around. And in Bezi, it was of course also a challenge, because I never used the tool before, and it had a very rocky start with me, because I saw the challenge and I was a little bit intimidated by like other people and other creators, which may have already used the tool, because I've never used this tool before, and in almost all the other challenges I could use like Blender completely to make like an animation or a design. So this time I was forced to learn something new, but I love learning something new. And yeah, then I put the Animus character into Bezi and tried around with it, but for some reason it just didn't show up in the preview. And I was chatting with Cecilia from the Bezi support, and she really tried everything to make it work for me, and it somehow still didn't work. And then one day I was like about to kind of give up on it, because it just, I don't know, it didn't work. And then yeah, I went back and it worked. I don't know what magic Betty did, but it worked for me. And from that point, I was determined to try more and more, to kind of get back the wasted time, especially when I saw that the deadline was pushed back further, and that there was a good chance for me to hopefully complete my idea. Um, and on the other hand, I really need to thank Raf for his help, because when he did this Discord call where we all could join as artifact creators, he gave great insight and some cool ideas, and I was like really hooked on like trying out some stuff. And then later on, I messaged him on Discord because I had so many questions on how to create my ideas in Bezi, because I just had so many thoughts on how this could work, but I don't know how it could work. So he was really good advice. One simple example would be how to make an animated texture, because I wanted to have a waterfall in there, but it shouldn't just be still. So I kind of wanted to animate it a little bit. And yeah, he gave me a cool idea to use the nodes and animate with the nodes, kind of. So you offset the texture and animate the nodes and the stuff like that. So he was super helpful. A big challenge for someone like me who is was I would say a bit messy when it comes to creativity, or just a little bit too creative sometimes. It was that I had to cut down on some ideas because I need to make it a working experience. And of course, if you add too many things into the scene, then it can just maybe not work anymore because it just cannot be handled. So I had to cut down ideas and make the experience like enjoyable, and like not too long maybe, because I had like ideas that you could like jump from platform to platform over lava, and just other stuff like this. But yeah, would just had to be cut off just so the experience is able to work in the browser, in AR, and yeah, probably also on Apple Vision Pro. Um,
So, Maki, I'm curious. I know like a lot of people, a lot of our creators have never developed or designed XR experiences. So I'm curious how it was for you trying to like make a leap and change your thinking as like a 3D animator, 3D modeler, and try to develop spatial experiences, or if you found that challenging or what you ran into during that process.
Right. So yeah, I've never done really a AR XR experience before, only for this one last challenge, or one of the later challenges that we did with this AR filter. But before that, I didn't do anything in AR. So it was, as a 3D animator, it was kind of a thinking that you had to think outside of the box, because as a 3D animator or 2D artist, you just have a screen. So you kind of had to think, how could I make this experience interesting from different angles? And how can I incorporate the player into this environment? Like, how can it be a cool game where you can walk around in it, kind of as a 3D character in the whole scene? And yeah, it was uh, like, first I started off with like really basic ideas. I really liked this example that Rolf made with the fetching this I think this wooden thing, or what that was. Um, and so you kind of need to think about, how can I create this experience in a 3D way, because it's not just something that you can view. And luckily, Bezi is a really cool tool when it comes to user interface, because it just really has a user interface, or for me, it seems like kind of like Blender. So navigation is really easy, and you have on the side you have all the different elements, so that's super easy. And for me, it was just bouncing back and forth between the preview mode to try it out and navigate through it. Yeah, that was kind of it.
Yeah, I think when you work on a platform like Bezi that has game interactions that are possible, and also 3D scenes, like you were saying earlier, the possibilities for creators, they're kind of like endless, and there's kind of two infinite possibilities. And for a challenge, you sort of end up coming up with these crazy ideas because anything is possible. But I think what we saw with a lot of the winners is they did a good job of simplifying the experience a little bit so it's more intuitive, and really honing in on like a linear experience that was a good user experience. So yeah, I think you did a great job of making a very intuitive experience that also takes advantage of just space, like being able to view this from different angles, being able to move your camera and find the apples. So yeah, great work on just making that leap to thinking like a XR designer. I think that really stood out, and it's super impressive for someone who, like you said, I don't think you've done this sort of work before. So crazy amount of growth in 2 weeks, or however short this challenge was.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, as you said, like I thought maybe I can use this way that you can go into the scene in a 3D way and kind of have an impact on how you play the game, because I try to hide the fruits in a way where you cannot see them all from just one perspective, ideally. So you would be kind of forced to move around a little bit, so that you are just kind of forced to interact with this 3D scene to complete the game. Kind of, I also kind of created sort of a barrier that you need to find all fruits before you can move on to the end, which was also something that Raf helped me to kind of figure out how I could do this, because adding like sort of a counter or something that yeah, I had no idea, but with the nodes are the magic, basically. Yeah.
I think it's a really cool point that Cam brought up in terms of like the simplicity. I think you something that I liked a lot on your entry was that you made something that it looked simple but it looked complicated at the same time. You grabbed like three elements like the platforms and made it with a lot of love and like, a lot of details just on those three platforms, and that with the background is just three or four elements made like I was inside that world. It almost kind of made me feel that I was playing Super Smash Brothers at one point. You know those maps that are like just three little platforms and you can do like a bunch of stuff in those. It felt kind of like that. I was like, oh man, like, it would be dope if we can have like an anime Super Smash Brothers platform kind of collab right now. But that so that I liked a lot, and I think that's the key on challenges like this, right? Challenges that are not easy, challenges that you're learning a new platform. You are, you know, sadly you have like 2 3 weeks to make something happen. So at the beginning, ideas will flow, and you'll try to knock all of them with the resources you have. But then as you start working on them, you realize, damn, I'm having trouble just making an apple. So if you if you just focus on a fraction of the idea that you're trying to make, and just go overall, I think you nail it the way you did it. So congrats on that. I think it's a really cool entry, and it's a good point for everyone else in challenges to come, like, what's the complicated version, what's the simple version, and the simple version, is that something I'm proud of, or is something that I think could get there. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Yeah, it was a big learning process on figuring out how can I create the cool experience and kind of simplify it, as you mentioned, because a lot of people can create a lot of stuff, but trying to focus it on the main objective here, making it work, that's like the thing that makes you learn something to optimize. Maybe it's just optimizing 3D models to have less polygons or smaller textures, but just stuff like that, as you mentioned, just trying to work with what you can do right now, and that's supported by the Bezi network, and that can work right now, and not just like everything.
Rocky. One thing is like I think you're selling yourself too short. Like when I was helping you out, all I needed to do is just push you in the right direction, and I think you solved it mostly yourself. So yeah, that's one, and two, like really like the amount of work that you put into it. I was surprised like the amount of animations that you put into it, like custom animations that go beyond what was provided is just absolutely stellar, and it was a joy just watching them do their thing. I was like, wait, I don't remember that animation at all. This is a custom animation. And the team at Bezi we're sitting there trying to figure out how did you do all that, and it is absolutely amazing hearing you right now, hearing like how you approached it. But I do have one question I'd like to ask. Like now, based on your experience working on this tool, and on, let's say, spatial design. I mean, do you have any thoughts on like the future of this kind of like role, or the future of like 3D artists in the future with interactive 3D design?
Yeah, I do have like some ideas maybe where this can go. Of course, when you're a 3D artist, you want to see how can many people take use of this. And I think especially everything that's like AR related, when you like want to play it in AR or with the Apple Vision Pro, I think it could be really awesome for example, for conventions as well. So just imagine there would be a company bringing out a new video game, and people can kind of like be in the video game in AR, for example, or just and playing sort of small part of this video game in AR on a convention for example, video games. That would just be like a really simple example. What I would see going there. I mean, you can also, of course, use it for more commercial things, that you want to showcase products and interact with products in AR. Um, and in general, yeah, kind of like the challenge that we did, you can create a story that is just more interactive. It's not just like a video that you watch, because previously, as I said, I am still doing 3D animation. But at the end of the day, 3D animation is just a video that you can watch. But if you are in AR and you can interact with things and you can kind of play this animation and view the animation in the ways that you want and from the angle that you want, I think that is just like a next level of interacting with the storyline, or interacting with a company, or interacting with a game, or interacting with a product, right? So it's just a next level. I would say it's also next level marketing, of course, depending on how you apply it. But yeah, I think that's kind of where it could go. And I think also the aspect of being able to play this game just on a 2D that you can embed into a website is also really awesome. Of course, it kind of depends how you can apply it and what companies might be interested in applying, or people might be interested in applying this for. But yeah, I think it has a very large potential, and I think everybody who does 3D in Blender or 3D animations in general should have a look at AR, because I think, especially if this Apple Vision Pro thing will be evolving more and more people will be interested in AR, I think you should really learn platforms that create AR or support AR, such as Bezi, and just try it out, because it's not as hard as some people maybe think at the beginning. You will get the hang of it for sure.
Wow, that is an amazing answer. Thanks for that. I mean, on that note, like either you or maybe even the Artifact team, I mean, how do you feel about, like, technology like this elevating your brand, especially considering that this suits your brand quite well, like XR fits the Artifact brand quite well. I mean, it's part of your I guess, your brand.
Is it a question directed to me?
Artifact team, or maybe even the Maki as well.
Yeah, I think Maki, you answered that same question really well already. I think the quickest answer for the Artifact brand and everything that Artifact is doing is XR. It's just another medium. It's like a growing medium for all these 3D assets to exist in. And obviously we have game engines, animation, but XR, like Maki was saying, it's interactive. You can build these new experiences. So Artifact's just done a great job of providing really high quality 3D assets, like these Animus files and the animations that Fred up here did a great job of setting up and getting ready for creators to use. So all these assets are always just being prepped for creators to build on these different mediums. And I think XR is just such a budding industry, and I think it just again leans into what we've already been doing anyway. So it's just like a natural branch of what the brand is doing currently.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thanks for that. Any other thoughts or anything you can add? Like,
would that be a question towards me?
No. I'm just like. The thing is, you've answered everything so well. I don't know what else to ask you. It's so you are. I have no clue what to ask you now. You've answered every question I could ever ask you. I think you've answered it. I'm like, okay, well, how do we go forward?
I mean, the only thing that I can just also add to this is, at the end of the day, if you're a brand like Artifact, right? Artifact is super focused for like the innovation, and I think that, as Cam already mentioned, AR and XR is just the absolute naturally next step. I mean, if you just look at like the history, right? Before, you told stories by word and maybe drew them as a picture on paper, and next thing we have the screen, which is also just 2D. And yeah, the natural next thing is just basically living in 3D, or telling stories in 3D and experiencing products in 3D. And for example, Snapchat filters was like, kind of the first step into all this and experiencing products. For example, if we would take the dunks, if you would have them as like a 3D AR filter or have them as a 3D AR filter, that's just like the next level of experiencing a brand. And it just is, of course, if you're a consumer brand that creates, in this case, shoes, for example, then the clients can try them on already and don't need to just think about how they would look, but kind of try them on an AR. And I think that could also, of course, be a great marketing way to convert over to sales, or just, build a closer connection between company and customer. And it's just, I think it's just, AR is kind of the closest thing we have right now, I would say, to like this hologram idea, the sci-fi idea. And we'll see where this will go in the future.
You honestly do have some brilliant answers, Mackie. You are very wise. I did not know you spoke like this. Why? I just played a few games of Fortnite with you, and that was that. But my God, you need to come on Spaces more often. Please promise me that you will. We need you.
All right. I guess I will attend more often.
Thank you. We also have Fabster up on stage, the creator of Clash Realms, another cool game created by you geniuses. So do you mind telling us about your process, what challenges you encountered?
Hello. It's hard to follow that one up, Mackie, man. That was awesome.
No, we're starting fresh.
Congratulations. Big shout out to the whole Bezi team as well, and for the whole Artifact community. This is like my first time kind of joining the Artifact community, so big shout out to everybody for putting this whole challenge together. It was a really cool one. Yeah, man. I mean, to follow it up, I guess my inspiration really came from just the prize itself, right? The AVP headset. I figured, oh man, I really want to do like a mixed reality thing that would be on the AVP as an app or as an experience or as a game. So that's sort of kind of like where I started, and then yeah, I figured a game would be a cool way to sort of build on the lore of Animus. Especially like they were trying to build up the incubation or staging the incubation for their release. So I thought, oh, you know what? Just seeing these characters, like the first thought that came to my head was, I want to see these things battle each other. So I kind of that's sort of where I kind of started from in terms of the inspiration. Yeah. Is that the question? I'm sorry.
Yes, answered perfectly. What was like your favorite aspect of using the Bezi platform or using the Animus 3D files for this challenge?
Yeah. So, so this is I've been doing the Bezi challenges. I've been trying to do them every month since like December of last year. So this time around, I think for me the unique thing was getting the assets, the actual files to work with and to kind of start from. So that, the reason I love using Bezi is because it's so easy to get into like the headset and like start looking at things in spatial, right? Like that's like the main objective, right, of the whole of using it, so that you're designing, but then you're also like you have the ability to go into the headset without like rendering or without doing any like the Unity side of it, and actually just seeing your creation and kind of like helping you even brainstorm for the prototyping side of it. Yeah, and then the files, man, I was really surprised like that they had animations in them, so that was really helpful and kind of to kind of get everything started. Like the first thing I did was just like brought in the assets into Bezi, put on the headset. I use a Quest 3, and I just started looking at them and kind of like seeing their animation and seeing what I was going to work with. So that was really a helpful tool in that case. That answered the question.
100%. And you know what? I just realized both first prize and second prize winners are dedicated, devoted, determined creators, because Mackie has been with us for a long time and he's been getting participating in most of the challenges that we've had, and you're saying the same thing about Bezi. So a question to both of you: what is it that drives you, and what advice can you give other creators? I'm gonna go to Fabster first, and then Mackie.
Ooh, that's a really good question. I mean, what drives me, like, so I got the VR bug like since 2016, right? I'm a bit of a player, so I really love just being inside of the worlds, inside of the games, and so that really inspires me. I work in the VFX industry, and so like right now I'm trying to figure out like how what I can do in XR, with like I guess my skill sets. So I'm like learning, and Bezi's been sort of like my vehicle to kind of get into the space, learn what design is in terms of spatial, and I've been following them since last year. But yeah, so the inspiration really comes from just being like a user of the space, right? I'm learning what a good game is, like what I look at UI, I look at the user experience, and I sort of aim to kind of get to that point at some point as either a designer or a creator, creative, a builder, right? So that's what drives me.
Beautiful. Mackie, what about you?
Yeah, so if I can roll back a little bit in time, for me it's maybe a bit different than for others, but yeah, as part of my history, I joined the Artifact Discord server back then in 2020. So I kind of started when I was like 16 years old. So Artifact was like a real natural part of me, like growing up and growing up with 3D. Because before I just had like maybe 2 years of experiences with Blender, but not really much. And I think challenges are one of the best ways to learn something. I mean, you're being challenged in school with your exams, right? So, and you're competing with others, kind of. It's not really the same, but similar. You have a little bit of pressure, and of course, with these challenges, you also have some pressure, and you of course also see a prize. And with Artifact, it was just the prizes are just really cool. And in general, I think the Artifact challenges are super different every time. Just as we can see right now, we're learning Bezi, which is something I never used before. So I would say with every challenge, you learn something new. For example, Artifact introduced me for back then creating like these Snapchat filters. That was something new for me as well. And just when you're competing with other people, you push each other to the next limit. So I could definitely say these challenges pushed my skills very far. And then, of course, if you see yourself getting better at something, you don't really see a reason why you should stop doing that, right? And what I can just give the advice to other creators would be to not be shy and also do not feel intimidated by maybe the other people. Don't feel intimidated by me. I think everybody has a equal amount of opportunity, and everybody can win something here. And I would say the other submissions were awesome as well. I'm of course super grateful that mine ended up winning now, but just because somebody else did not win this time, your win can be around the next corner. As Ferrer already mentioned, I've been doing this for a while. I mean, I've been participating in, yeah, since like over 3 years and a lot of challenges. And before I never really won anything. And yeah, this time it was just luckily me. Of course, there's some work in there, but yeah, everybody can win. And as I said, you will always learn something, so there's not any reason to stop. And with Artifact, it's just very special for me because before I've been like creating sort of like fan art for companies or for games or whatever, but you never really got any support back. And Artifact is doing a really good job with the Artifact Creators page, just to show love to the creators and people that create. As you can see, just right now, we're having a space where we can talk about our experiences and maybe also uplift each other and find out what can be improved. And for example, Bezi right now, or in the challenges, or just in general for the creators. And yeah, something I didn't mention before, but I should give credit to is back then when we were talking about the inspirations, something that really helped me was actually when I went onto the Artifact Creators website and they showcased the 2D Animus challenge winners. I really like this idea from the third place winner, Kush, who made these flying islands. So that was also a really great inspiration for me to just get more of an idea on how this Animus environment could look like. So yeah, shout out to, of course, these challenge winners as well. So yeah, that's all I can say about this. Don't be shy, don't feel intimidated, and just give it a try.
Wow, Mackie, I love that you were inspired by somebody else's submission. That is so cool, from a completely different challenge. That's really awesome to hear, man. Love it.
Thanks.
Want to say something?
Oh no, I just wanted to say, yeah, it's awesome really always getting inspiration from everybody else. That's in general the good thing about Artifact, as being part of the creators, that everybody can push each other. So you can of course also get inspired by each other. Nobody is here like really enemies, right? We're all trying to get better at what we do, and the better we are, the better we can submit something, and the better we submit something, the better maybe we can win. And maybe the prizes will of course be feeling much more rewarding, and maybe they will be of course very cool, just as the price is right now. So yeah, also just in general, I'm also of course here to support everybody else, and if everybody or somebody has questions about some Bezi stuff or Blender stuff, I will try to answer them. And if someone of course wants to replicate something that I did in my experience and just doesn't know how to do this, then I of course can also help. Or of course the awesome people from Bezi, Raf, who has all the knowledge about it.
What?
Can I just add that to the inspiration side of like on my end, seeing all the artists, like the artwork that was on the website, that was huge. Seeing all the amazing 3D renders that you guys do in the community. I mean, all that was like, wow, man, these guys are super talented. Like, I could see them working like in the industry, and that definitely was an inspiration for me. So I just wanted to add that big shout out to everybody in that community.
Amazing. Shout out to all of our creators and Franco for setting all of that up. We also have Frederick and Regis. Now, Regis never gets to make it to our spaces because it's always insanely late for him. But he's here. Hi, Regis. Do you want to share a couple words with us? He's testing it out from his PC, guys. If it's silent, that means it didn't work. Regis, I don't think it worked. Well, anyway, we'll circle back to Regis when he gets on his phone, if he gets on his phone. Frederick, welcome up on stage. How you doing?
Good. How are you all doing?
Very, very well. So what did you think of all these submissions?
Yeah, I was floored actually. They were like some were so complex in the in their what's the word I'm looking for? What am I thinking?
Really early. It's okay.
Yeah, I know it's I had a long night. Just Animus nonstop. Yeah, the execution. Yeah, was I think the biggest thing for me that really kind of stuck out from other challenges, because the amount of work that goes into learning software, learning an entirely new sort of like art medium. It's not like something that you can get a lot of reference for. There's not a whole lot of that out there yet. So I feel like all of you, that submitted something could potentially be like the trailblazers for this type of media. If you keep at it, you'll be the ones ahead of the pack. I think a lot of the work too is inspiring. Yes, I was touched by the father-son duo because I have a kid now, and but just knowing that it was the son that did pretty much all the work, and then the father helped out when needed. It was just really great to hear that sort of like a collaboration or teamwork, and that's something else you guys should, if you end up talking to each other, like all of you that have submitted something, you never know, you'll be doing a collaboration with them, and then maybe the next time you do something like this, it'll be even more impressive. And then yeah, it was hard for me to also choose, like, we all had to make votes, place votes, and I remember there's like at one point I was just like, can't we just give them something? I was looking around my office thinking like, I wonder if I have something I can like offer, because like I know how much work goes into this stuff, and I wish there's a way to reward everyone. But yeah, overall it was really impressed to see the work coming out. So, but yeah, and as far as this technology goes, I think this is like just the start. It's like a new industry that's going to build up. So everyone should hop on that train, especially with Apple, jumping into the AR world. I think it's inevitable. But that's just me. Yeah, it's me mumbling.
I have a question for the participants. Considering that this XR design, spatial design, is a new field, and many people are intimidated getting into it. I mean, do you have any either practical or philosophical advice on like maybe getting into spatial design that you would like to give any first upcoming users into the space?
I mean, I would say when learning anything, just take small bites. Don't create your opus right away. Learn the software. Do small like exercises, small little bits, and then go a bit larger. Maybe someone from Bezi could also answer this, since this is more their sort of jam. I would like to do something like what you guys did, but unfortunately, my time is very limited these days.
Just if I could add something. So yeah, as I said previously already, I think the user interface of Bezi, for at least for me personally, kind of resembled Blender a bit. So if someone already knows Blender, I think it can be very helpful to understand Bezi. And I think also the system that they use is very user friendly with the nodes. And yeah, as I also already mentioned, just when Ralph made this video on the Discord server, that at least helped a lot for me, because you can just see someone do something, right? You can see someone create it, and that can give you a bunch of more ideas just to follow along.
Webster, as the what you call it, as the participant who's been using Bezi, one of the participants who's been using Bezi for the longest, like any thoughts on that? Any advice for new upcoming users into spatial design XR?
Yeah, I think well, maybe not just in spatial, but I think getting good at time management in general is sort of always key for any creative and or process. So getting good at time management in terms of Bezi, and just working with software optimization is always a technical hurdle. So like basically learning the tool as well as possible by doing these sort of challenges always are super helpful, because it actually makes you kind of do it right. It puts a deadline, and then you actually learn along the process. And even if you start late, because I suffer from what I think Daniel from Bezi said once, is scope creep, where you're like super ambitious, and then you sort of start spending too much time on certain aspects of like your ideas and whatnot. And I still I suffer from scope creep, as Daniel put it. So yeah, so managing your time, and it's always like a battle, right? Because you don't know when to start, but if you have the deadline, at least that kind of gives you like a way to kind of start on something and learn the tool. In this case, I wanted to learn how to rig the characters with different animations, and I spent a little bit of time on that, even though on my project, like I sort of built it into three different phases. And my goal was to kind of get through phase one of what this app would be just for the challenge. Um, but yeah, ideally, I wanted to learn a little bit more on the Blender side and kind of bring that optimization scale to Bezi so I could work with the acids a little bit easier. But finding that ceiling, like of like what is perfectly optimized, and I mean it specifically for headset visuals, right? So that because if you look at the project on the web, it usually runs really well. Also on the phone, it would run well. But if you look at it in the headset, then you start getting the hiccups because of the optimization. Might be a little bit over the amount necessary for viewing in the headset. So getting to know what is really well optimized or what works, what needs more optimization, that's sort of like the challenge with all these, specifically with the Bezi challenges. It's sort of like, all right, I have this huge idea. I want to make sure that I just focus on one part of it, and then like, what am I going to do for it? And you know, and I battled it like, oh, maybe I won't do this. I won't join this challenge just because like it sounds a little bit too time consuming. Or yeah, I'm always battling it. Like I'm not gonna do it. And then 2 weeks right before the challenge, I'm like, all right, I make a decision. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna. This is my idea, and then I start kind of working towards that idea. And so I just, you know, if I give anybody advice, it's like, just do it. Don't hesitate. Even if it's gonna be like a very simple idea that you're thinking about, especially if you're starting, and just submit it. Right, like that's the goal. Just make sure you just get to that point where you submit it and you're happy with at least that fact that you actually submitted the project. But yeah, that's pretty much what I would say for someone new, especially like following all the tutorials, especially if it's Bezi. Do all the tutorials. If you're doing Blender, do Blender tutorials. I think the key is doing like learning through tutorials and through like these design challenges are super useful and helpful.
Those are really great answers. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Maki and
I also
Fabs.
wanted to add really quickly, I think for anyone who has like no exposure to XR and is just interested, I think the best way to just learn about what's possible is to just go out and try some of these experiences, these games that are out there. I think now more than ever, like VR games are so accessible. The Quest headsets, the new Quest headsets have both VR and pass-through AR, so you can like get a sample of what you can actually do in these headsets, what spatial experiences feel like. And there are just so many great experiences now, more so than there were many years ago. But even for me, like 7, 8 years ago, I got into Unity XR development just because I had a chance to try on like a Microsoft HoloLens AR headset and just seeing the experience using the user interface on that thing, it was just like mind blowing and like eye opening to what you can actually do on the hardware. So to anyone that's interested, I would say go play some VR games. Like I remember playing this game Super Hot as well, which I thought was just the coolest thing ever. And they really open up your eyes to exactly what you can do when it comes to spatial experiences, spatial development. So that's the easiest and most fun one. Just play some games.
Many brilliant advices shared by everybody. And yeah, as Fabster said, just do it. Those 3 magical words will never let you down. But we've reached towards the end of the spaces and we haven't even spoken about some of our favorite submissions. So from the top of my head, the ones that I can remember, Kevin on Earth, he kind of merged the whole like physical and digital aspects of our existence, and he 3D printed the Animus, where you could like scan them, and then a shop would open up. That was really cool. Sea Searcher made another little mini game where you have to find, I think they were gems. I could be wrong. I apologize. And then we had Abby Ram. Oh my god, you guys are so good. That was one of the funnier ones that we came across because you have Gorka who gets hit by this energy ball or fireball. I can't remember what it was. And the way he just drops down, and then he gets saved by Mythlet, and plants start growing around it. It was so cool. And then Control Z, you had so many different elements in your submission. I was just in awe. And as Fred said, I wish we could reward every single participant, but the competition just keeps getting tougher and tougher. So I don't know, you guys, did you have any favorites that you want to talk about?
Don't make me choose.
I was gonna say I can't remember the one that had one of the Animus characters trip and fall on their face. It made me lol, literally laugh out loud. So I like that. It's always fun when you get a little bit of comedy thrown in there. I can't remember who did that one, but it was it was a fun piece.
I don't think they're here. I think it was Mani. Are they here? No. I think it was Mani.
Okay. Yeah, no, there's some. I can't choose just one. It's like when I buy sneakers. If there's like multiple colorways of the same model, I have to have all of them. So that's my take on this. They're all good.
Fred, you're greedy and kind at the same time.
Yeah. Oh, that goes with food too. You're like two really good-looking donuts. Like, why do you have to choose? Just take both.
I want all the donuts. Alejandro Ramiro actually made another cool one as well. There were like little Animus cards, and the Animus would come up in the background in different like situations and environments. It was cool. This challenge is really, really cool. I'm so glad that we did it. The prizes were awesome. I'm really jealous that people are getting physical Animus eggs. Seriously. Those are going to be hard to get. But yeah. Any final words, guys?
Hey, let's not. Let's just. We need like just be happy about first of all, Ferry saying Alejandro kind of like a song. She was like Alejandro, Alejandro. I like that. It's a good one, Ferry. We acknowledge that. One of my favorite submissions that didn't get into the top three, but it was right there. It was the Sea Searchers one. I really like that one. It was the one that had like the buttons at the bottom. You can interact with it. Yeah, there were like also like little islands. I think that was cool. It was right there for me, and just a lot of them in general. I think some of them were funny. Other ones were more in the storytelling. So it was cool to see different points of view. I also liked people that were working on things and couldn't finish in the end, but they were going through some cool paths that I thought if we give them like 2 more weeks, for example, or 1 more week, we could have different winners. Honestly, there were some really cool ideas out there, so that's also really dope. And as I don't know, as just some final words from my end. First of all, just to say that the channels are still will be open for this type of genre that we're starting to investigate. Special design, a little more AR, and all this. Like, we have Discord to keep talking in there and keep learning. You guys also are involved with Bezi now, and their people and their platform and their Discord, and they're also open just to keep helping you guys out and everything you want to keep expanding. I think it's a cool if you liked it and if you're interested in it. I think it's a good asset to have in your library to be able to know about special design. Like a lot of people are a lot of people are going to the freelance creator side of things. So the more you add into the things that you like, the better it's going to be for you to get better opportunities. So I would say just keep going at it. You don't have to like be like a special design full time about it, right? Like it's more of something that you can, it helps you get better opportunities. Also, say thanks to everyone on our team. Besides, Bezi, also on our team, like Cam and Fred and Ferre and Regis and everyone that been, you know, answering all the questions and trying to follow up with people individually one on one to try to help with ideas with pushing for extension of the of the entries. That's something also I want to bring up is like, we usually do this extension of weeks, not just because we're like, oh, let's just keep the let's just keep the hype. It's like because we see people that they've been working hard for a long time, and it's difficult challenges, right? And I mean, if we're able to extend 1, 2, 3 days just for you to have a better entry, to get better opportunity to a cool price, we're gonna try to push and do it. I mean, sometimes we can't do it because we have other announcements or another projects coming through, and it's just we can't. But sometimes when we can, we're just gonna do it. um and yeah, and the best of all, I think, is for you guys creators to for participating on this, and um just not being scared of like grabbing something new. I know for me, sometimes it's scary. I'm scared of 3D. I'm scared of this or that, and sometimes like, okay, I see you guys working on it and tackling it, and it's just inspiration, motivation to be like, why not me too? Like it doesn't matter how old you are. If you're old, if you're young, like look at the Rabian. It's like he did it with his son. That's wild, and they got that third position. So I think really anyone can do it here. It's more about being open to talk to people and collaborating, going into Discord and asking for help, um, getting into our DMs and asking for help too. Like we're always open and we're here for you. Um, so it's just another way to improve the essence of the program. We're just getting started here, and this is just another step to do something cool. So thank you to everyone, and we're gonna right now. There's things coming that are pretty cool, pretty hype. Can't really talk about it, but soon. So we're gonna do a little stoppage of like challenges for this month at least, to focus on a couple other things, and then we'll we'll bring back challenges as opportunities come through. So thank you, everyone.
Wow. Let's end it there, guys. Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. Thank you for speaking. Congratulations to the winners, Maki, Fabster, Ravian, as Franco said. Love you guys a lot. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Terrible. Terrible. When will you learn?